Oh yeah, freak out, yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, and this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, and future, yeah, and I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar, yeah, the cream of the crop, dig it?
49er Minded. It's not just a thought process, but a way of life. 49er Minded. 49er Minded. I can't shake it. It's 49er mind that I got. It's 49er shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A red and gold session. About a red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions. Let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the slot? That's how they spin in the spot. All that back, all that crack, all that straight fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the story on, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind. 49er minded. It's not just a thought process, 49er minded, but a way of life. The Shark. 49er minded. Way of life. 49er minded.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Just want to say it's great to be here. I have a very special guest who I've been trying to get on the show for quite some time, and schedules conflicted, things got in the way. But before I do that, let me just bring on Bebop Jones right here. Say what's up. Says, oh yeah, what up, Bebop? We got John LaJoy. Says what's up. And let's bring on our special guest, Niners Jess from the East Coast Red and Gold Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. It's I've been wanting to get you on my show for quite some time. I believe the first time that we were on live together, I talked about this so many times. I probably sound like a broken record, but we were on Niners Sickness podcast for the draft days, and you and Beto on Niners Sickness podcast. You two were there for every second of the draft. So much respect to both of you. It's a lot of work in that, and I had the freedom to jump in and out when the Niners made the picks, so I was pretty much there with you two when the Niners made all the picks. So we had a lot of fun, a lot of good memories. So I'm definitely holds a special place in my heart in terms of how much fun we all had together that day.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. We held our own for sure. I think it was like 7.5, a good 8 hours or so. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That definitely, and when we were doing that, that was when I had my old generic chair, and that sitting on that chair for more than an hour was a total pain. Now I'm sitting in something much more comfortable. That's probably why people are not so used to seeing me so high. I look a bit higher and taller now, but it's just the seat doesn't go down any lower. I kind of wish it did. But let everybody know what you're all about, because I believe you obviously host the East Coast Red and Gold podcast, but let everybody know where the area you currently reside in and where you grew up and how you became a Niner fan. How did all that happen?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I'm about 45 minutes northwest of Giant Stadium. And my dad watched Joe Montana at Notre Dame. And then when he was drafted by the 49ers, and the rest is history. So it's me, my parents, my brother, my nephew, my one sister. We're all Niners fans. So been Niners fan a long time. That's
awesome. So your dad was just a big Notre Dame fan, and you guys got you guys excited about Montana, huh?
Yep.
That's cool. We got Brian Cope here. Definitely check out his YouTube channel. Really cool dude, and always supportive of all the other YouTube channels. And I did put the East Coast Red and Gold podcast link in the description box of this video. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely check it out. You've had a lot of really, really nice guests on your channel. Let us know who else you work with on the channel and the cool guests that you've brought on, and if you have any cool, funny stories or any funny moments you want to talk about in regards to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast, let us know.
Yeah, so it's me, Ty, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. Becca is from New Jersey, Ty's from New York, and Maddie's up in Maine. And it's the four of us, and we're on every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we've had a lot of cool guests. Yesterday we had Larry Krueger and Jack Hammer on. Last week we had Jesse Sapolu. The week before that, we had Spencer Burford. That was pretty cool for being a current Niner. And yeah, we've had Dwight Hicks, we've had Randy Cross, Matt Mayoko, Nick Clark, who's the director of fan engagement for the Niners. It's a lot of fun. I like having guests. It's something different. And we have a lot of fun doing it.
That's quite an impressive list of guests. I need to step my game up. I've had Larry Krueger on before. I've had Jamie Winborn on. He's the only former player I had, but that's awesome though. I really respect that. That's so cool, and I got to catch up and watch some of those shows. I did watch a Spencer Burford one live. I saw that. It was a lot of fun, and he's just a really, really calm guy. He seems like he's really, really nice at the same time. Just like a really, really mellow guy. Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a humble guy. Super nice. I mean, I know he was at the podium today for a press conference, and he seems to just be just an all around nice guy.
So can you let everybody know like your first experience as a 49er fan in terms of going to a 49er game, and whether or not you got to go to any games at Candlestick or Levi's? Let everybody know what's up with that.
My first game was probably back in 2008. It was at the Stick. And it was Niners Jets. And I believe Brett Favre was the quarterback of the Jets. That's when Patrick Wills laid out that big hit. And yeah, that was my first game at the Stick. Since then, I've been to about probably 18 games total. Between the Stick, Levi Stadium, away games, playoffs. I just, you definitely have to go. You definitely have to go to see a game because it's nothing like being there.
Oh yeah, it's totally different from watching it on TV. That's for sure. I mean, with TV, you do have the luxury in terms of sitting on a big, nice couch. You got the DVR, you can pause when you got to go to the restroom or rewind certain things, but when you're at the game, there's a special aura. It's a special atmosphere. It's unlike no other. And I definitely remember that game that you were talking about where Patrick Willis had that big hit. I keep forgetting that Jet receiver's name. I think it was Pat. I think his name was also Patrick. I could be wrong, but I remember that game so well, especially that hit. That was just, and it's funny because when he got hit so hard, we're like, damn, whoa, look at that hit. And then it almost looked like, okay, he got up like it was nothing. And then all of a sudden he just comes crashing down. It's like in pain. Yeah, he definitely felt that one. Let me say what's up to John V. He's here. It's 3 shows in a week. I'm jealous. Showing you some love, Jess. And if you don't know who John V is, he is one of the hosts on The Locker Room Rant. He's a 49er fan. He's on there with 3 dudes that he grew up with. Nick, who's a Browns fan. We got Tony, who's a Buffalo Bills fan. And they're always at each other's throats. It's always a lot of fun. And we got Ted Talks Ball, who's been on assignment at training camp almost every day. I think every day. I got to watch you today, Ted, on Ryan Hensley's channel when he had Rob Stats Guerrera on, and you were literally there live on assignment in camp. So that was so cool to see that. And we also got David McNiner says, "Let's effing go Niners!" And great to have all you guys in the chat. A lot of these, David McNiner has a channel as well. Ted has a channel. All these people have channels, I guess. Yeah, so it's so cool. I don't think you've ever been to training camp, have you?
I have not. That is definitely on my bucket list. I wanted to go this year, but work schedules didn't pan out. So hopefully next year.
Yeah. And if you are coming out to any games this year, and if there's any meetups or of any sort like that, maybe I'll try to make it out and maybe we can all hang out or something, and me and whatever else content creator we can run into over there.
Yeah, I'll definitely be out for the home opener.
Oh, okay, cool. I went to the last one. Is the home opener this year, if I'm not mistaken, against the Cardinals?
No, it's against the Giants.
Oh, okay, that is the Giants game. Okay, got that. Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this really quick. Do you remember like your first away game that you went to? Because we were talking about the all the Candlestick and Levi's games that you went to. Was there like an away game that you went to that like was a first, or maybe that really stood out?
It would be with the Niners coming to New Jersey to play the Giants. Yeah, it would be that. And it was actually, Giant fans are a different animal. A lot of people say that, Jets fans are worse, but I think Giants fans are a hell of a lot worse.
But terrible.
Yeah, it was a good game. I actually think the Niners lost by maybe a touchdown or a field goal, but yeah, that was definitely my first like away game, if you can say that for me, because I live 45 minutes away.
No, there you go. Yeah, you're in that New Jersey area. I've had bad luck in these New York Giants games. The first one I went to may have been one that we won though. I believe it was against the it was against the Giants, obviously, but I try to remember. It was in the Harbaugh era, actually. Harbaugh's first year was a really, really good game back and forth between the New York Giants, and we ended up winning. And it was in the regular season. Then later in the playoffs, it was a Kyle Williams game, and I ended up being the NFC Championship game. Went there with my brother, and that game, it felt like we were winning at the very, very end, and then we lost. We all know how that went down. It sucked.
Yeah,
So, and then
I was at that regular season Niners Giants game.
oh,
It
you
came
were
down.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one that came down to the very last play where it was batted down by Justin Smith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was a big touchdown by Vernon Davis, I think, where he dove into the
Yep.
end zone or something like that. That was
Mhm.
a really fun game to go to. That
Yeah, it
that was
was.
one of the funner Niner games that I went to, definitely in that season. That's for sure. We got I the Niner in the chat. What's up, Ray Pena? He's been on the show before multiple times. He was a candidate for NFL Fan of the Year. He was the 49ers representative. He's got the glass, not the glass eye, but the prosthetic 49er eye. He's even got a song called The Eye of the Niner. Met him a few times. Great dude. I can't say enough good things about him. He's awesome. Ran into him recently at the 49er picnic over in the Sacramento area. And then I always appreciate you being in the chat, bro. You're awesome, man. And let's see what John V saying. TED Talks ball. I'm interested in that 49ers Sun hat. Oh yeah, TED Talks. Ted, who I co-host with on Balling with Bash and Ted. He usually wears his visors on the shows, but he had this big like 49ers straw hat at training camp that he's always wearing. He doesn't like wearing regular hats. Oh, Slick Charles is back. He says, I'm a new subscriber. Appreciate you, bro. Oh, yeah. So again, shout out to everybody yesterday who participated in the 1,000 subscribers show. It was a lot of fun last night. We had tons of fun. I had Tyler Miller on, who's just a well-known caller on the 95.7 The Game, the morning roast with Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. They even had him in the studio once on the show before. And it was just so much fun last night. It was a blast. John V was on there for a good point of time. And again, I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel, new subscribers, old subscribers. You guys are awesome. It was really, really hard to get it to 1,000. And for anybody out there on the grind, you too, Jess, it'll happen one day. I'm just saying, it's like, just keep plugging away, and it'll happen. One day you'll wake up and it'll happen. That's all I got to say. And I may have probably would have hit it sooner had I been more of a hustler, had I pushed out more videos, but it is what it is. As at the end of the day, don't quit though.
Yeah, I mean, we're still fairly new, so we just actually hit 200 subscribers yesterday. I think we're at 201 now. Yeah, so it's the the milestones like that, but we're just pretty much, we're out there for quality, as opposed to quantity. We want to put out a good show, and and just have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and you're on there with your friends, so I'm sure you're always having a lot of fun on there. And I know who Ty is, and I don't know the other ones too much as far as on a personal level, but I've watched them, and they do good. They do good work with you too.
Yeah, we definitely gel together.
Yeah, you guys do,
and we have a lot of laughs.
Oh yeah, that's more important. That's how I look at it. It's like if you're not gonna laugh, then you're not gonna have fun. And maybe I'm not everybody's cup of tea, because I make sure to laugh each and every possible opportunity I get on this channel. And whenever I have somebody on my channel, like, I look forward to having them on if they're funny, or not that they have to be funny, but it just makes things so much easier. It's just like, yeah. So let me say what's up to 49ers First Takes podcast. Aaron says, hey, what's up? Yeah, he's on the East Coast. There you go. Another East Coaster over in upstate New York. Hey, everyone. What's up, Justin Bash? Great to have you here, Aaron. And we got Niner Tone. What's up, bro? This is Niners. He was in the chat yesterday for my show. It was a lot of fun. A really good friend of mine from the days of Candlestick, and running into him at the old 49er training camps. Just him and his dad are just really awesome, great people. And he's been on the show before. I want to bring him back on soon in the future. And if I'm missing anybody, Del G. What's up, Del G? How you doing, man? That's one of the 49 one of the hip hop artists in the 49er hip hop community. Puts out a lot of Niner rap songs, and just really, really great guy. Met him before, and really cool dude. I'm gonna have them on again in August 12th, actually. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah. Nice. So 49er says, I was talking about quality or quantity about the East Coast Red and Go podcast. About the East Coast Red and Go podcast. How did that how that all happened between you guys, between, whose idea was it and how did it all come about?
Well, I had an idea to bring East Coast flair to Niners World. And so I was talking with Ty, and Ty is very knowledgeable, loves the 49ers, and then I figure, you know what, I want to get another woman on the show, because I believe that us ladies, we definitely know what we're talking about. So I knew Becca for a few years already, and so I just I reached out to her, and then I happened to come across Maddie on Instagram, and he used to do radio up in Maine. So it just it all worked out. So here we are.
And whenever I see Maddie, for whatever reason, the first thing that comes to mind is in the back of my head, I call him Matty Ice. I don't know if you guys call him that, and I don't care for Matt Ryan or anything like that. It just always resonates in my head, Matty Ice. So, and Del G says, "Well, I know many Niner ladies she wants on the show." Okay, all right, good to have you. Yeah, I mean, doing this podcasting stuff to some people, especially some people on Twitter, it's not. I just want to tell everybody right now. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's also not easy either. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and when you're going live, and if something goes wrong, things are going to go wrong. You're relying on the internet. You're relying on power. You're relying on computers. Things are going to go wrong. So not trying to dissuade anybody from it, but there's people on Twitter who be like, "Oh, if I start my channel, I'm going to be way better than everybody else," and blah blah blah. They puff out their chest like, "Look, hey, no, anybody can start a channel. More power to you, but don't think that you're going to go on there and be way better than Grant or way better than Larry Krueger, or way better than whoever." I just think it's really funny when people say that when it comes to podcasting. Niner Sickness Podcast is here. What up, Beto? Great to have you. I don't know if you have any advice for people who want to start up and do channels, or just people out there, the podcasting world.
Just have fun doing it. It is a lot of work. It's like you said, it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well, and not everything's going to be perfect, but most importantly, just have fun.
There you go. So we got another guy here. Is John J from 49ers Ultimate Report. Check him out. So what's up, everyone? Wanted to ask you this because I noticed it on your Instagram. And I always ask this question, have you ever met a 49ers player before? But certain Niner fans have met way more players than I've ever dreamed of. So, and you have multiple pictures with players. I lost count who you met. But if you have any cool stories, or the first time you met a Niner player, or just any recent stories about meeting Niner players, go right ahead. Let us know.
Well, last year when we were down in Atlanta, I went to that game. So I was at the team hotel there, and I have a shirt that has Kyle Shanahan's face all over it. And I was in the lobby, and he happened to walk out, and I asked him for a picture, and I said to him, I was like, "It doesn't like freak you out that your face is like all over my shirt?" And he just started laughing. Like it was fun. And he was like, "No, not at all." So we took a picture, and it was pretty cool, but he was so cool. It's not the first time I took a picture with him, when I met him in Atlanta, but it's just the first time with me wearing the shirt. So it's a pretty cool story.
Of all the players you met, was there a player that really freaked you out in terms of how large and the size, of the athlete?
I'm going to say Javon Kinlaw.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, especially when we first got him. I think he was even heavier when we first got him, but he's just a big guy regardless. And I wouldn't want to mess with him, and I think Ray Cohn wouldn't want to mess with him either.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm just going through my feeler questions. We like to do some icebreakers on my show with my first time guests, and we're gonna talk about some current stuff going on. But you're on the East Coast, you're in Jersey. And I'm a big pizza aficionado. I cook up my own pizzas in my backyard pizza oven. And just give me like your top, like maybe a couple of your top favorite pizza spots out where you live or in your area.
Well, I only have one that I'm really religious to, and it's in Randolph, New Jersey, and it's called Mario's Pizza. They cater all our events. We order from them probably maybe once or twice a week. They have awesome pizza. So that's definitely
Oh,
my
once or
go-to.
twice a week. Wow. I mean, seeing events for your workplace, or is that
No, this is
oh
it's
for?
just for home. Like, it's
Oh wow.
whether it's pasta, whether it's cheesesteaks, whether it's pizza, they do it all and it's phenomenal.
If I'm ever in the area, invite me over.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. That sounds like you guys have a lot of fun over there. That's so cool. I don't hear about that over here. People having such a so bringing pizza and pasta with such regularity. I guess we're kind of bored in California when it comes to that. But how about like if you go to New York City though? If you're in New York City and you say, "Hey, I want to get my favorite slice of pizza," do you have any spot to go to? Any go-to spot?
I actually don't. I unfortunately don't go over to New York City as much as I would like. There's a lot of stuff going on over there right now, so it's not necessarily safe all the time. And besides, living in Jersey, like it's, if people come and visit here and they go to New York City. When you live in Jersey, it's like, oh, there's the city. Like I go down to the Jersey Shore more than I would go into New York City.
Oh,
So
okay, like on the boardwalk and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yep.
That's so cool. Yeah, I need to make it out to the East Coast one of these days. I've been wanting to go to New York and the New Jersey area, and been saying that for you. At one point in time, my sister lived in Manhattan, but she was only there for a year and a half. But during that little window, I was thinking I got to come out and visit, but it was such a short window. So, but speaking of windows, though, the 49ers talk about having a Super Bowl window, and it's this year in and year out thing. It's to me, it's like I mean, they're talking about whoever the quarterback's going to be, and we can't afford to have Trey Lance in there. That's what some people say actually, because of our Super Bowl window is going to close, or we need to have this guy in there. And for me, it's like I notice this team drafts very, very well. Sometimes they overlook certain positions that are of importance, at least in my opinion, and I don't like it when they do that. But in general, this team does a really, really good job of refilling their roster, reloading their roster, and to prevent any type of rebuild type season, or to prevent to prevent what the Rams are possibly going to go through this year, right? So,
Right.
but do you see this team as being sustainable in terms of success, or do you see it as like, oh wow, all these players are going to leave in a couple years, and then we have to start from the ground up?
No, I think it's pretty sustainable. I think our window, I'm not really a big fan of like, oh, the window's closing, the window's open, but for this question, like, the window's wide open. And it's going to be open for as long as they want it to be open. I think, I'm probably a homer when I say this, but I think it's our year. We have all the pieces. I mean, yeah, we could talk till we're blue in the face about the quarterback position, but I feel that whoever's under center, whoever gives us the best chance to win, that's who I want there, and that's who's going to take us to get number 6.
Yeah, I agree with you. Here we go. We got Kenny here from the Pacific Northwest saying, "What's up, faithful? Great to have you here, Kenny." This team has established a strong running attack. We've, drafted really, really nice weapons, and a lot of our talent's homegrown too, which was what I really like. And I was alluding to that earlier. Actually, I was brought that up earlier about the whole, how we draft really well, and not necessarily like in round 1 or 2 or 3. It's more so like in the 4th and 5th, and sometimes in the 6th round. So hopefully we can keep that up, because I'm going to feel really good about the team, next year and the year after, even when guys like maybe Trent Williams leaves, as long as we draft certain players or sign certain players. I mean, like, for example, like the Joe Staley thing, for example, like when I believe it was like, it was on one of the draft days or during that 3-day draft period.
Yep.
Yeah. And I had no idea. Probably nobody really had an idea about Joe Staley's health and some neck issue that he had where he had to retire probably 2 or 3 years early. And the genius of it was we did trade for Trent Williams, and we got him for a really like bargain deal. So we kind of lucked out there a little bit. At the end of the day, I do want us to, like I see us in camp like this year, like I see like we're thin at like tackle. That's how I look at it, tackle. And I don't know if you have any concerns about the O-line or any other position groups, but like the O-line does concern me a bit, just for the fact that like Jalen Moore had that went down the other day, and I don't know, like what are we gonna do with this O-line?
Well, he actually has a knee bone bruise, so he's day to day. But I don't think the offensive line to me isn't really a big concern. All the reports that I've seen on Colton McKivitz that he's doing really well. Big Trent is going to be Trent. Aaron Banks is in concussion protocol, but he'll be back. And then Jake Brendel, and then my guy Spencer Burford, who some reports are saying, he's been good. Some have been saying he's been bad, but as long as they're, gelling and, and there's a bit of continuity on the line this year, I think we'll be fine.
I understand. Yeah. I mean, when Jalen Moore went down, the first thing I read was that he got up on his own power.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. But then later I was reading he got carted off the field. I was like, wait, which one is it? Did he get carted off the field or did he get up on his own power? And then so I was thinking, okay, what is it? I hope it's not an ACL tear. And then when I did find out it was a bone bruise, that was earlier today. It's like, okay, cool. Okay. I mean, not cool that he got hurt, but it could have been a lot worse, So they said day to day. So it's not, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And again, I mean, it really worried me though, because obviously, McKivitz is out there and I don't think we have much depth behind him. But Aaron Banks, for whatever reason, had a concussion. I'm not sure how, but that was a little bit of a scare. So, but we do have, John Feliciano. I believe they had Nick Zakel with the first team today, working with the first team. And Elijah Mitchell, as far as injuries go, was dealing with an abductor strain, if I'm saying that right. He'll be out for at least a week. Always something going on with Elijah Mitchell. Amazing talent, but I don't know. It's just his availability.
Feliciano actually has a shoulder strain, but he's day to day.
Oh, okay, he does. Yeah, I mean, I like Feliciano. He's got a lot of starting experience. He's kind of like a Brunskill, but I'm thinking he could be a better version of a Brunskill of what we had. So, and he's actually played left tackle before too. He's never played right tackle though. I was hoping he had right tackle experience, but I'm hoping that they could possibly work in that right tackle so we could just have like more people who are cross trained and ready. And it's a pretty big dude. And he's a tough guy too. He's like, not sure if you saw that. I forgot. Maybe it was when he was on the Buffalo Bills. Somebody was trying to rough up Josh Allen or something, and then he came in there and he threw the other player off him, or he threw the other player down. I'm not sure if you caught that. Kind of like what Trent Williams did in the Eagles game.
Yeah, I loved what Trent did in the Eagles game.
Yeah, that was like the only good thing about the second half.
I know that was the best part of the entire game.
Yeah, minus the touchdown, minus the CMC touchdown. Yeah,
right.
Kenny's a big running backs fan. He says even with Mitchell hurt again, I still think our running game is solid. I've heard a lot of good things about TDP. Actually, before the show, we were talking about how there's certain players that you expect to hear good things about, but we haven't really heard much. But I didn't hear too many details about it. But in general, the vibe of TDP, this training camp is letting me know that it's not this thing where the fans like, oh no, he's another Trey Sermon, he's another Trey Sermon. He's basically coming out. He's not going down basically without a fight. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about TDP. Jordan Mason. It sucks that Elijah Mitchell's hurt again, but hopefully it's we get that out of the way early, and he'll be healthy. But and CMC was a rest day today, so.
Yeah, CMC. He's kind of had a history of injuries throughout his career, and I think Ted really brought up a really good thing. I'm not sure how many times this happened, but I think at least one season it may have happened where CMC was healthy to possibly return, but in one of the Panthers seasons, but the Panthers season was basically over by then. So he just sat out for precautionary measures because it didn't really make sense for him. They weren't going anywhere, and better to save his body. So hopefully we don't have to worry too much about CMC and his health issues, but I want Shanahan to disperse the carries a bit more too, though. That would be nice. And having Elijah would really, really help give them more confidence to do that. But I mentioned TDP. He's more of a power guy. I know one of the practices, Trey Lance threw him like a 30-yard pass. Might have been down the sideline if I'm not mistaken, but that's good. I mean, that's like a big play for the guy, considering he hasn't really done much with the 49ers. And we do have other running backs. Kalen LeBourne's an undrafted free agent, and then I'm blanking on the guy's name. Jordan Mason, obviously, yeah. Jordan Mason slimmed down a bit. They said he looks a bit more explosive, but then again, he's got issues holding on to the ball. So I don't know if he's going to be playing too much if he's not going to be able to take care of the football.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern. And with CMC, when he was in Carolina, like that CMC is pretty much all they had. So they literally ran him into the ground. So I think that's where a lot of those injuries came from. But with us, it's, it's Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, we have other weapons. And you're right. I mean, I hope Kyle, kind of disperses the carries a little bit amongst, the other running backs as well.
Definitely. I mean, it just seems like the logical thing to do, even though I think CMC's the guy, the type of player that doesn't want to be on the bench, and he kind of gets angry when he's on the bench. I think people are kind of telling me about that. And the competitive spirit in him is awesome. And even if he's not getting the ball, though, I'll say this, like, especially in the passing game, like his presence alone is going to be fooling defenses and, confusing defenses, so to speak, especially the passing game from time to time. The guy has great hands, and he's just such a versatile player. We are pretty fortunate to have him. And I heard about as far as players who we were talking about that really, as far as people that in camp that we didn't really hear about so much, but we may want to see what's going on, and we're trying to research them. There were a few people I was trying to research. I couldn't get much on them, but the one player that I've been hearing some good things about is Braden Willis. I'm not sure if you've been hearing the same things, but they've been saying he's been targeted a lot. I mean, Grant Cohn himself today said that Braden Willis was targeted about 4 times today, and he hasn't seen a rookie tight end in practice targeted this much since the days of George Kittle's rookie year. So,
yeah, Larry Krueger was talking about that last night on our show about Braden Willis, and that he looks really good, and the tight end who doesn't look so good is Cameron Latu, which I thought he would be better over Willis, but I mean, who knows at this point? This is the 7th practice in training camp. Next week they go and they practice with the Raiders. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got you. And we got Kenny was talking about the running backs. He said we're going to see what Kalen LeBourne looks like in the preseason. There's also another running back, Ronald Awa. I watched a little bit of film from both of them when we first signed the 2 guys, and LeBourne looked more like the type of running back that I was more interested in. But whoever makes a team, we'll find out. It's a little hard. This roster, I mean, for any rookie to make this roster, especially for an undrafted free agent, is really tough. There's just so much talent on this roster, but injuries do happen as well. There's the practice squad, and we always develop young players, and sometimes those people that you don't expect to play, it's their time to shine. So that's that. Back to Larry Krueger and Jack Hammer. That's interesting that you had both of them on at the same time on the show.
Yep.
Any like other moments that stand out in terms of what you guys were all talking about, or any funny moments, or anything intriguing in terms of what their takes were?
You know what? Just their knowledge, really, of everything, like each position, like some of the plays. I know, Larry and Jack, they both had their say about, people, some fans, the way, with the quarterbacks, and, the way they think, and, and that you shouldn't, just because you like one doesn't mean, you don't have to like the other, and, and stuff like that. But it was very cool. I mean, if you haven't watched it, like, please go watch it. They were with us for a little over an hour. They talked about their, surprise candidates, their disappointments, the tight ends, about, Braden Willis and Cameron Latu, the offensive line, that they said that the offensive line would be okay. As far as Nick Bosa's contract, Larry said that, he seems to think that it's done, but he does, that they're pretty much in agreement that, they don't want Nick Bosa coming in for training camp or even practice against the Raiders, because of like injury and stuff like that. So like he'll probably need maybe 5 or 6 practices and a preseason game, maybe, so we'll see on that. But I seem to be with Larry, the fact that the contract is probably done.
Yeah, the scary part about Bosa's contract, though, it's basically a quarterback contract. It's at least that's what they're estimating it out to be. And I'm all for players getting the money, getting the bag, but it seems like we're going to be really, really tied down to certain salaries, and it's gonna be a lot of work for Prague and the people in the front office to look at. Speaking of the front office too, Frank Gore recently got promoted. Mm-hmm. Frank the Tank to some type of front office position. I'm not sure what his role is going to be. Somebody told me it might be something to do with helping them draft running backs. Maybe I heard that part wrong. I'm not sure if you heard anything else in regards to that.
I just saw that he was just primarily, his title is like football advisor. but people wanted him to. I know people wanted him to be on the running backs because his son is going to be coming out.
Oh yeah, that's right, Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I'm not sure like exactly what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, it's just great to have him back with us. It's unfortunate that we lost the Super Bowl that he played in with us, and it'd been really, really nice for him to get a ring as a Niner. But hopefully, maybe we win the Super Bowl pretty soon, and he gets awarded with the ring. As part of the process in the front office, so that'd be really, really cool. Great guy. From anybody I know who's met Frank Gore has said nothing but really, really good things about him. Have you met him by any chance?
I have not, unfortunately, but I've heard nothing but great things about him.
Okay, yeah, me too. Exactly. And I've seen him plenty of times in person, but not like right next to me. But when I was at training camp and people were trying to get autographs and stuff like that, I'd see him like 5-10 feet away. I've seen him plenty in person, plenty of times. And Frank Gore was just a great. It's like with Frank Gore, especially, it's like when we had him, he was a bruising, tough runner. He was really good when we first had him. And it kind of sucked because it felt like his most talented years, his greatest years, were kind of wasted because we were playing with Mike Nolan as our head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then Singletary, things kind of got a little bit better, but things didn't really start rolling until Harbaugh came around, obviously.
Right.
And then by then he kind of was slowing down a little bit, but he's still. I mean, when we lost Frank Gore and he left us, and we had picked up Carlos Hyde, I just thought Gore was completely dumb, but he played way longer than I thought he would play. So shout out to that guy. He's just an amazing running back.
Yeah, he played like another 6 seasons, 6 years.
Yeah, it just surprised me. I thought he was done when he left us.
Yeah.
So really, really stood the test of time. And I'm kind of jumping around a little bit because this just popped in my head. It was about because I know you've met all kinds of players, but as far as the players that won the first 3 Super Bowls with Montana, have you met any of those? You said Randy Cross, right? But I'm not sure if you met. How about Ronnie Lott or Ji'Ayir Rice or Montana or Dwight Clark?
I've met Jerry Rice at a book signing. He's super cool. And I also met Ronnie Lott back in April at an autograph signing, and he was pretty cool. Like he, just as advertised, just really cool to meet. Like I get all like shy and quiet like when I meet these guys, so it's like I have all these things that I want to say, and then like I get up to them and it's like, oh crap, like I can't remember what I mean, when I met Kyle Shanahan, that was like, I was so surprised that I came out with that, like with my shirt. So
that's funny. That's just. Did you have a feeling you were going to meet him when you wore that shirt, or what?
You know what? I did have a little bit of a feeling. I was hoping I would. I also have a George Kittle shirt like that. So although I've already met George Kittle, but I didn't have that shirt on. So
okay. That's one day it'll happen when you meet him with a shirt on. That's so cool. I want to meet Kittle. He seems like a really funny guy. I met Ronnie Lott.
He's super nice.
Yeah, I could sense that. That's from what I've seen in terms of him talking to people. And one of my old jobs back in the day, I worked at Foot Locker, and I remember there was a Macy's. It was this big, huge mall in downtown San Francisco, and they were like, I heard rumor had it that Ronnie Lott was signing autographs at Macy's, and I just took my lunch break and bought a Niner hat because we were selling Niner hats on the job at the job anyway. So I bought a Niner hat and had him sign it, and he was just so nice and so cool. I lost the hat because the hat it was one of those hats that I wore a lot, unfortunately, and it just faded over time. I lost it, but what I did forget though was that I actually, and for years I forgot about this. It's like, oh, I lost the hat, but he actually signed like an 8x10 glossy, and I still have that. So. Which is pretty good, and he was just so nice and so friendly. I've always wanted to meet Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is like up there, like as far as from those great Super Bowl teams. Jerry Rice is like the number one Niner player that I want to meet. I used to see, and I mentioned Ronnie Lott. It's funny because when I used to volunteer at the Warrior games back in the 1991 season, I used to always see Ronnie Lott sitting courtside, but I never had the guts to like talk to him because I just felt like, he's like sitting down. I don't want to like tap him on the shoulder like, hey, I'm a big Niner fan, Yeah. But after one of the games, I saw Bill Walsh, Steve Young, Ronnie Lott, Eric Davis. There might have been a couple other players who I'm forgetting, but they were all just hanging out and talking to each other on the court side right after one of the games. And the only thing I did was I saw Steve Young and I was like, hey, Steve Young, what's up? And he just waved to me, and that was about it, But it was just so cool seeing all those, great players, and obviously Bill Walsh, all of them talking to each other.
Yeah, that's cool. Eric Davis is also another one that I met the
Oh,
last
okay.
time. Yeah, the last time I was in California.
Do you follow his podcast by any chance?
I don't. I didn't
I
even know
Oh, you
he
didn't
had a
know that?
podcast.
No, you didn't know
No.
that? Okay, okay. I should link you to it. It's on the Believe Network, BLEAV. I forgot the name of it, to be honest with you, but if I haven't saved my podcast app. I used to listen to it all the time. Actually, I forgot. It's been a while. He's done some guest spots on Nothing But Niners a few times. I know that.
Mhm.
It'd be so cool to have him on, on my show or see him on somebody else's show. And I really like his takes and his knowledge of the game. And I don't agree with everything he says all the time, but I know one time, a few times here and there, Eric Davis will go live on Instagram,
Yes, that yep.
Live. Maybe you've
Mhm.
seen that. Maybe you've seen him do that. And then,
Yeah, yeah, I've
and
seen him do that.
he'll read comments and he'll read questions and stuff like that. He seems very personable when it comes to that.
Yeah, I definitely when I met him, he was very personable. He was very nice.
I never met him, but I saw him. But yeah, I could just picture him being like that. Um, yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna bring up a few players from camp, that people who are doing well. We did bring up the O-line earlier, and you mentioned McKivitz. I heard a lot of good things about McKivitz in the one-on-one drills, that he was really really handling his own and doing really well. Not so much in the 11-on-11s, not as good. But I don't think I've heard anything about him looking terrible or anything like that. And so it's just nice to hear. It's a calming type of thing, just to hear that, a player who I kind of had a little bit of a concern for, who I wasn't sure about, seems to be picking things up. And hopefully he, as the season goes on, he progresses and gets better. And even with Burford not doing so well in those one-on-one drills early, they said he did a lot to change his body. I saw a lot of good from Burford last year, so I'm not really too worried about Burford or Aaron Banks or those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Spencer Burford said he lost like 8 or 9 pounds. So he's more like mobile
Okay.
for this season. And as far as Colton McKivitz, he had said that he's trying to emulate his game as far like as to Mike McGlinchey's run blocking. So he's been watching like tape of McGlinchey and stuff like that, just the run blocking. But yeah, it's and apparently with what he's doing, it seems to be working well for him. So
yeah, a lot of McGlinchey, when he first came, I loved his run blocking, and I maybe it was after his injury that I noticed it wasn't as good as it once was. And McGlinchey he'd have games where, in terms of pass protection, where he'd probably win the majority of the time in pass protection, but his misses would just look really, really bad. And then that was usually the story. That was usually the story with McGlinchey. So he got ragged on a lot by certain Niner fans, and the Niner fans just thought he was the worst player in the world. But he was nowhere near as bad as people said he was. But he's a good guy, and he got his money, so much respect to him. But I just found this out the other day. I forgot that I even still followed McGlinchey, because I follow so many people on IG and I don't see everything they post on my feed. But I did see something that was really sad. He actually lost his brother last week, from what I was hearing or what I was seeing on the pictures that he posted. Yeah, so prayers up to the McGlinchey family. I don't know if any of them are watching, but I mean, just it's really, really sad anytime anybody loses a sibling. I lost my brother about 10 years ago, to be exact, and it's not an easy transition in life. And I know he's dealing with a whole lot of pain right now. So just him and his family, they need all the prayers they can get. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's sad.
Definitely. We got Jason Niner Smash Massey here. What's up, bro? There's Talofa, Bash, and Jesse. How's it to everyone else? I think you were saying like you're a half Samoan, and I think that means like hello in the beginning part. That's Talofa part. I think you were explaining it the other day. So good to have you here, Jesse. Oh, sorry, Jason, not Jesse. I've been watching too much Grant Cohn and Jesse lately. Oh, it was pretty funny. I was watching something where it was Ryan Hensley and Grant Cohn the other day, and Ryan Hensley said something to Grant. I forgot what it was, and Grant's like, "Well, I don't have any kids." Blah 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 blah, and then Ryan said something like, "Oh, well, but you seem to have adopted a son from Florida." So he was referring to Jesse Naylor's, because Jesse Naylor's here for Niner training camp and all that, and he's basically, he's staying at Grant's house, and they did a few they did a few streams together, Jesse and Grant, where they're basically side by side at Grant's house. I'm not sure if you saw those recent streams.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
they kind of had some audio issues too, because like when the other guy talks, it picks up on the next microphone, so they have to mute the mic each time. And it was really cool. I wanted to meet Jesse. I didn't get a chance to make it to training camp. I was trying to get tickets. It didn't happen, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to meet Jesse unless something miraculous happens over the next 2 days and somebody texts me and they have a surprise for me. I don't know, but to all those people who are going to camp, all the Niner content creators, Rohan, Jesse Naylor, Ted's been there a whole bunch. Raj from RSF Niners, great guy. I know Brad Graham's there a lot. Larry Kruger's been there a lot. All those guys. I mean, shout out to all of them working hard, in the heat and reporting on what's going on in training camp. And they're basically our eyes and ears, because we don't have any video or any real solid video access or footage of what's really going on.
That's true. And I heard tickets were actually like super expensive.
Oh, well, there's some jerks out there who like to scalp and post, maybe that person paid $5 or $10 for whatever ticket they got.
Right.
But they're reselling it for something like $200 or $220. I saw somebody pay $70 the other day. I'm like, look, like I love my Niners, but I've been to training camp practices back in the day, and they were free. I think the most I paid was like $5. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna pay $70 or $200 for a practice. I mean, for a real game, yeah. I mean, I paid that much for real games. For real games, sure, but nah, not for practice though. And Beto going out on a limb. Beto sticking to his guns. He's saying Trey Lance will be QB3. I don't know. I hope not. That would piss me off. But Beto's trying to get under my skin, maybe. I don't know. It's a training camp ticket. It says Jason Niner Smash Massey. He says training camp tickets are harder than Super Bowl tickets. Yeah, it's pretty hard. Yeah, it's not easy. As far as the quarterbacks that we have going on in camp, we can go down the line. I mean, obviously Purdy got cleared medically way faster than anybody would expect us to hear from. And obviously Trey Lance is in the mix, Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen. And any interesting things you want to touch on in terms of what's going on with the quarterbacks and the early on in training camp?
I just we're in a good spot, and I just wish people wouldn't get into their feelings as much. I know, a lot of people like, one more than the other and, and stuff like that. But you know what, you can like all three, you can like all four, but just in my opinion, just, let it all play out, let the best person, the one who gives us the best chance to win. That's, like I said before, that's who I want out there.
Totally understand. And Niner Sickness Beto says he's pulling my leg. Got it. I'll say this. He mentioned Trey Lance at QB3. A lot of people are talking about Darnold doing well in practice, and he has been doing well. He's been, Darnold, Purdy did get off to a slow start. Lately, he's been doing better. Lance had some pretty good, he's been stacking some good dates on top of each other. The only bad thing that Lance has really demonstrated so far is every now and then he'll miss a gimme. Every now and then, but in general, what they were saying is that he's pushing the ball downfield more so than the other quarterbacks, and he's protected the football much more so than the other quarterbacks. Well, today he actually threw his first interception of the training camp, which is fine. It's going to happen every now and then. And the cool thing about it though was D Winters got the interception. Remember on draft day when I was sitting with you on Beto, that D Winters was the player that I got the most excited about when I sat with you guys. I wasn't. I was kind of pouting a little bit. They should draft this guy. They should draft that guy. We all have our favorites. And, keep in mind, I did so many mock draft shows. I did multiple mock drafts on my laptop and my phone. But to finally get a guy who I coveted on my mock draft shows, D Winters was the only player that I had even had played highlights for on my mock draft shows. So that was cool because early in the OTAs and minicamps, they were saying he looked slow and didn't look like this physical specimen or this guy, he didn't look athletic early on when the 49ers first had him, but I heard he's coming around a little bit. Not sure if you have any takes on him or any of the younger linebackers in the mix or who may possibly replace Aziz.
Well, you know what, the name I keep hearing is Marcelino McCrary Ball.
Yes.
He seems to be having a really good camp. He seems to be flying around and just really meshing well with Warner and Greenlaw. And I like him too. I met him, last season, and he's a nice guy. You know what? All the players I met were all nice. I don't have a bad thing to say about them. Very humble. but yeah, Marcelino McCrary Ball, like look for him to take that, Aziz Al-Shair spot.
Yeah, and it sucks to see Aziz go because I really liked him and he
Yeah, I did
really
too.
came into his own. But it's a business; we're not going to keep everybody, and same goes for other NFL teams. It's just never going to happen. But for whatever reason, we're trained very well in the linebacker position. We have very good coaches in that department, and obviously D'Amico Ryans was there for a long, long time, and Johnny Holland's an excellent linebacker coach too. I remember him as a player. Oren Burks was a name that I kept hearing that may possibly replace Aziz, and it's kind of between Oren Burks and Marcelino McCrary Brawl. Maybe Marcelino McCrary Brawl might be a better fit because I believe he's a bit more on the speedy side. And I know Oren Burks is a pretty good special teamer, but it's going to be, I don't have honestly with that position in the linebacker department, I don't necessarily have a dog in the fight. I'm like, put out the best players out there. One thing that is kind of intriguing though, I'm thinking like, because we did draft Ji'Ayir Brown, we still have Tayshaun Gibson in the mix. I think like maybe every now and then they could probably throw like Ji'Ayir Brown like in a hybrid linebacker role.
You know what? I feel like that is definitely an option. Ji'Ayir Brown seems to be having a really good camp, and he was one of the players that I'm super excited about. Seems like a great kid, and really good at the position. So we'll see what happens. And going back to Oren Burks, I know Larry Krueger said that he could possibly be one that's traded even to the Raiders because the Raiders are looking for a good linebacker.
True, yeah. I mean, so when we play the Raiders in those scrimmages, where some of those guys are maybe the Raider organization may be looking at some of our players and be like, hey, how much you want for this guy? So we'll see. That'll be really interesting. So Jason, we were talking about the quarterbacks earlier. Jason Niner Smash Massey, he said all three quarterbacks have been having good days. I don't see a problem with that. Yeah, today and yesterday, for the most part, the most recent days, all three of the QBs have pretty much been having pretty good days. And for example, you'll look at not that I really care too much about quarterback stats in training camp. I don't. It's kind of been a thing the past few seasons. I don't remember it being a thing in years prior. Maybe I forgot about that. But if you do see an incompletion from whatever quarterback, it's only like this QB only had 2 incompletions or this guy only had 1 incompletion. It's like not that big of a deal. And so it seems like we'd be in pretty good shape if certain players. If whatever quarterback goes down and another quarterback steps in, obviously I think, people could say that, hey, we may not have a designated number 1 quarterback. Some people think it's Burt Purdy, and some people say like when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, or some people say we have 3 quarterbacks. But honestly, like I don't think that we've had a deeper quarterback room in quite some time in comparison to what we have right now.
No, I definitely agree. Definitely agree with you.
Yeah, so as far as the wide receivers go, the big news is Ayuk. Sounds like nobody could cover him. He was giving Ambry Thomas the business all day long today, from what I was hearing. So I don't know if that's going to really hurt Ambry's confidence or hurt his development. But Ayuk looks ready and poised for a big season. And if you have any other wide receivers you want to touch on, go right ahead.
I'm excited for Juwan Jennings. I know Ronnie Bell is making his name known. As far as Ambry Thomas, he has to do some major stuff in the preseason if he wants to remain on this team, but it doesn't look pretty for him. But yeah, I'm excited for Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, pretty much the whole wide receiver room. I think we're going to be like awesome this year.
Yeah, I mean, because like I was super excited when we drafted Danny Gray last year, but I'm not sure if he makes the team this year. And not that he's doing bad.
I think he does.
Okay, you think he does? Okay.
Yeah.
And like for example, when Trey Lance has been out there in practice, like he doesn't always get to throw to Deebo or Ayuk, and he'll throw to guys like Chris Conley, and he's had a pretty good connection with Conley. And I've heard like Conley's been doing fairly well in camp, but yet maybe he might not make the team either because we drafted Ronnie Bell, and then we also drafted Danny Gray last year. So not sure where that's going to fall in terms of who we keep and who we let go. But I do like the depth in general, though. I like the talent, and I feel good that if we put different receivers out there, we can get good results. That's good, just as long as we don't have guys who have the dropsies or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, really nice wide receiver core.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good guys are going to be cut, but that's the problem that we have.
Definitely. So Beto said, so I mentioned something about throwing the ball downfield. Beto said, I can care less about down the field. If you can't hit the layup, then you can't play. I think it means you can't play quarterback. Yeah, because you put can't. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's pretty harsh. So Dave McNider says, what happens if we need a touchdown with 30 seconds left? Does downfield matter? Oh, well, checkmate. What Niner Sickness says, Jess Craft
My
is about to
wine,
launch.
I'm sitting next to my wine cooler, so my
Oh, I
wine
was wondering
cooler.
what that noise was. I kept thinking it was me for a second. I was like, I have to mute something on my computer. So wait, so the wine cooler, explain how it
Yeah,
works. I'm
it's
curious.
yeah, like it goes on, like how it makes a noise like a refrigerator, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a noise, and now it's fine.
Is it one of those cool ones where it's like a see-through glass kind of, you see
Yes.
yeah, the old company I used to work for, we used to sell this. I used to work for fries.com, was a online website, basically, online store and web store. And we sold all different kinds of electronics. And then we had certain things for the home and appliances. And I remember seeing that. Sometimes I'd see it when I walked into the physical stores. I'd definitely see it on the website, those wine coolers that we sold. And interesting. They'll have one like that, but it seems like a cool thing to have in the house. That's pretty cool. So let's see what else is going on in the chat. If anybody has any questions, any last second questions before we're heading towards the hour mark, and if there's anything you want to touch on that I haven't touched on, Jess, go right ahead if there's anything that you have on your mind.
What I actually really like is Steve Wilkes working with Diamador Lenore and Charvarius Ward. Mooney Ward said today that he feels that he's going to take his game to the next level, to the all-pro level. So I'm really excited for that. I think our secondary is going to be lights out this year. And it's, having Coach Wilkes is definitely a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, when we signed Wilkes, I honestly wasn't really all that familiar with him. But what I was hearing was he's going to bring to our secondary similar to what Chris Kocurek brought to the D line. And that really, really opened my eyes. And so far, I just hear that this guy goes out of his way to coach whatever players on the field. And, he talks to them in between plays, during the scrimmages. And yeah, I mean, he's making his presence felt. So it's going to be really interesting. Yeah, and he's going to be coaching up in the booth. So he's going to see everything. It's going to be really, really nice.
Yeah.
And he's not the rah guy that D'Amico or Robert Saleh was. And people are expecting that, don't expect it, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to be good. I mean, and if he was a rah guy, it wouldn't really make sense because he's going to be up in the booth anyway. So I'm sure there's other assistants that can help cheer on the players or give him a pat on the back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One I could think of is Chris Kocurek.
Oh yeah, that guy is just a ball of fire. He's just like he's just like a box of dynamite. That guy is just not.
And you know what? Like you have other guys on the team, like other teammates. I mean, as far as Coach Wilkes being in the booth, like he said that he doesn't want to be on the sidelines with all the emotion. He wants to always be like one play ahead, and I absolutely love that.
That's really cool, and you're right. I think this secondary might be lights out as far as secondary goes. We made some strides last year. It looked really, really nice, and it sucked because at one point because Emmanuel Mosley, along with Mooney Ward, Mosley was having his best ever season. Catches an interception against the Carolina Panthers in front of all his relatives in Carolina, and then goes down with an injury. Mm-hmm. Demo steps up, though. Demo stepped up to the plate. Now, he didn't play as well, but as the season progressed, he got better and better. And people were like bitching and moaning about him at one point, thinking that he sucked and he's going to get burnt and all this. And I was like, no, watch out. I think he's going to get his kinks out. And, he was looking good in the playoffs. And I like Demo a lot. And, Womack's coming around in training camp. You mentioned Ambry Thomas earlier. When I was doing my mock drafts the year Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore got drafted, I did multiple mock drafts. I did so many, but so many times I picked both of them in the same draft. I'd pick both of them because, and I was like, so cool. We drafted both of them just like I was doing on my mock drafts. But Ambry, like his rookie year, he was looking good at one point, and it never seemed like he bounced back. And then now I was thinking like maybe Wilkes can kind of get him back to what he was supposed to be, but I don't know. It's not a good idea if he's going to try to get back for him to go up against IU because I was mentioning earlier that IU was just tearing him apart, and I haven't heard too many good things about Ambry at all in camp. So.
No, I haven't either. I've just heard what you've heard.
There you go. Yeah. So, hey, it's been great having you on. We're gonna hit the hour mark right now. If there's any things that you want to say in regards to your channel or anything you have going on, go right ahead.
Yeah, just come check us out. We're the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. We're on every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's me, Ty Austin, Maddie B, your girl Bex. We have a great time and we have awesome guests. And check us out and like and subscribe while you're there.
Yeah, and if you're not subscribed to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast, hit up the description box of this video. You can definitely subscribe to that website, so the YouTube channel. It's going to be a lot of fun. They just hit 200 subscribers. They're a fairly new podcast, and one day they may get up to where I am. Maybe they may surpass me. You never know. They bring on the best guests. Want to shout out everybody in the chat. You guys have been awesome. I don't think I missed anybody. Seeing you guys, a little bit of a low turnout, but no big deal. Every now and then it's kind of hit or miss with this YouTube stuff. And that's just how it is. And again, I was mentioning stuff to other content creators or people who early on in the mix and they're not doing so well. Just don't get discouraged. John B mentioned it yesterday. There may be those days where there's 2 or 3 people in the chat and, you think you're just maybe talking to a computer and nobody else, but don't ever think that. Do it for the love, do it for the passion. And hey, look, we got a Cowboys fan in the mix. Tommy Montoya. Okay, welcome to the channel. Says DCL Cowboys Nation, even though my Cowboys lost 2 Niners. It was a close game. It was close. We didn't
doesn't matter. A win is a win.
Yeah, true. Hey, we had it 2 years in a row, so I can't complain. But both of them were pretty close down to the end. Cowboys are going to be a pretty formidable team this year. So yeah, it's going to be tough whenever we play certain strong teams this year. And this season in general. Our lack of rest days kind of worries me. Not sure if you're a little worried about that, but it does kind of worry me. And if you want to bring up anything about that before we wrap it up.
No, I think we'll be okay. One thing, I do have to bring this up.
Go ahead. There you go.
Thanks
for the reminder, Beto.
Thanks for the reminder, Beto. I forgot. I am on with Beto on Friday nights at 8:00 p.m. Eastern, 5:00 p.m. Pacific. We're called the Niners Now podcast. And come check us out.
There you go. Well, and then I mentioned earlier, for those of you who arrived late, the first time that I ever collabed with Niner Jess was on Niner Sickness Beto's channel. I was there for the draft, all the draft coverage, and tons of fun. And because of that, I was like, hey, Jess, we got to collab one of these days and get you on my channel. So Tommy Montoya, before we wrap this up, says stupid Kellen Moore messed up by calling stupid plays and Dak throwing interceptions. Yeah, good point. So anyways, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for being on the chat. If you guys were part of my show yesterday, I want to thank everybody for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. It's a lot of fun, and I want to encourage, although I've been talking about this a lot, but I think it's good to bring up all the content creators out there. If you haven't hit the 1,000 mark, don't get discouraged. Just keep putting out content, keep creating content, just coming up with new ideas, and eventually you may get there. With that said, thank you guys for watching 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Keep repping those 49ers to stay 49er minded. Peace.
Go
Let's
Niners.
Go Niners. Yeah.
Come on, 49er faithful, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.